So in one of my more recent videos, we talked about the loc-line return mod versus a 3D printed nozzle. And I actually ran across a company called Vivid Creative Aquatics that makes a RFG nozzle. It's a random flow generator. It is a 3D printed part. However, it is made differently than the original 3D part that I got. And it is a what we would call a random flow generator. So you can go to vividcreativeaquatics.com to learn more or make your purchase. I picked up the nozzle that they make for the Red Sea Reefer. So here you can see in the frame, that's the loc-line return nozzle. Here in a second, we'll pan over and take a look at the RFG nozzle. And this, folks, is the RFG nozzle, the random flow generator from Vivid Creative Aquatics. I'm sorry, I'm having to pay attention to the literature here. But as you can see here, I know it's a little shaky. Creates a random flow pattern, no moving parts, easy snap fitting for 3/4 inch loc-line. This one does include the Red Sea Reefer adapter, which is this piece right here. And on the back here of the pamphlet that came in the mail with it, you can see that it is a random flow generator, with no moving parts. The internal structure of the RFG nozzle is comprised of 5 vein helix. I don't know if I said that word correctly or not. That spirals nearly the entire length of the nozzle. VividCreativeAquatics.com. So it is a 3D printed part. I don't know if I can get a good picture here of the nozzle itself, but you can see it is just not a straightforward nozzle. This piece here that my pinky is touching will snap onto the Red Sea Reefer. And then we got the random flow generator here. So I'm going to go back to the tank, take a video of the loc-line nozzle. We'll throw this on the tank and we'll do a little comparison. So excuse the noise. That is an air pump running, and you can see we got bubbles in the tank. And it's not really a great representation of the split nozzle here. You can see there are bubbles coming out of it. So it's probably the best I can do as far as a comparison. This nozzle is going back a little bit, and then this nozzle is going down to not blow water back into the overflow. So, you know, it's probably the best comparison that I can get. I'm going to shut the return pump off, throw on the random flow generator, and see what we got. Once again, ignore the noise. I'm too lazy to turn the air pump off, but this is a comparison side by side from the loc-line and the random flow generator. So you can see that there's, I mean, it's not going to stick out much further than the loc-line does, so it's not really that big of a deal. So let's take this guy and he slides on. Supposed to slide on. There we go. Took a little bit more force than I anticipated. We'll point it down. And it's installed. So let's turn the return pump back on and I'll start the video back up. So the return pump is turning back on now. And unfortunately for me, you know, the random flow generator will have to blow straight forward at this point. And unfortunately, again, I can't give you a, there we go, it's a decent shot of it blowing the bubbles in every direction. So it's pretty neat. It actually does what it's supposed to do. It's very impressive. The bubbles are not just coming out as a straight shot. I may have to make an adjustment. See if I can point that in a different direction there. And point it down a little bit more. It was making a little bit more of a surface agitation than I like. But it seems like it is blowing bubbles in a random form. That is a very good sign. And as you saw, I installed it with one hand It did take a little bit of pressure, and that's fine. That means that it's a good fit. This is the 3/4 inch Red Sea Reefer random flow generator. Let me turn the pump off. Get rid of the bubbles there. Let them go away. And you really can't tell that it's there. I know it is pushing water a little bit more up than I would like. I get a lot of surface agitation from the gyre pumps. So, unfortunately, I have to point it down pretty far, which kind of concerns me because if the pump were to shut off, then it's going to siphon out quite a bit of water. But I guess to alleviate that, you could just drill a hole here in the top of it, just as a siphon break. Of course, the bubbles are still in the tank. But, you know, I'm a lot happier with this piece than I am the piece that I got from eBay. That's for sure. So some final thoughts here. Mind you that the gyre pumps are turned off, and I do have some air bubbles coming through the random flow generator. And although it's kind of hard to tell on camera, I believe it is doing its job. You know, we do have some more bigger air bubbles purging through the system, but you know, for I don't know, what, $26 shipped for it, not really that bad. And it is a short run from the return nozzle to the front of my tank, so it is pumping water straight into the glass. Basically, I got it tilted over to the side a little bit. I decided for the sake of the video that it would be beneficial for me to do a power failure test with the random flow generator. And you can see here, it's kind of hard to see with the glare, I apologize, but it basically, that's pretty much a 5-gallon water change for me, maybe a little bit more. You can see that the gyre pump is really close to being run dry, because there's no other option for me. I have to have this nozzle pointed well below the water line, otherwise the turbulence that it creates is just too much. You know, I want to give an honest opinion. You know, I purchased this piece. I'm not obligated to say one way or the other. What I'm trying to do is inform everyone what my opinion is. Ultimately, the amount of water that drained into my sump, it's well over the filter socks there. I mean, you know, in my opinion, I'm really pushing it at this point. And the only way to fix this problem is, I believe, to, pardon me while I take the screen off, drill a hole somewhere in here to create a siphon break. And I'm kind of skeptical of doing this because even if you start with a teeny tiny drill bit, you do run the risk of cracking this because it is plastic. Now you can correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section below, that's fine. But basically the water level has to get below this section right here, and that will break the siphon. But once again, I have to have it pointed down significantly, otherwise the turbulence that it creates is just a little bit too much. With that being said, like I said, I'm not obligated to say yay or nay. I'm definitely not gearing this towards a negative review on this piece. For my personal preference, I'm going to go back to the loc-line only because I know that I don't have to have it so far into the water that if the power goes out, it drains 5 gallons into my sump. I know I'm not going to run the risk of running one of my gyre pumps dry if there is a power failure. And mind you, that I do have this system on a battery backup, so that I guess kind of contradicts itself, that if the return pump goes off, the gyre pump should go off, and that is true because they're both running on a battery backup. However, if the return pump dies, then the gyre pumps will still run. And let's just say that this does somehow get moved a little bit, and if it pulls another gallon out of the tank, then I'm going to be in pretty bad shape pretty quickly. So once again, this is not I'm not bashing by any means. This is my honest review on the nozzle. As far as build quality, absolutely amazing. Couldn't ask for anything better. The build quality is great, but unfortunately for me and my system, in my opinion, I'm gonna go back to the loc-line. So I hope that this has helped you make an informative decision. It's ultimately, I know there was a pause there, but that's ultimately what I'm attempting to do, is give honest feedback. I don't know if it but I'm just trying to give honest feedback and let you make your best decision at that point. So as always, I appreciate you watching. Stay tuned for the next one, and I will see you soon.